Let's face it, for many years at the southern border, because it was open, we saw trafficking like we'd never seen it before. The invasion that came over the border perpetuated the Biden administration literally losing 300,000 children. These are children that they brought in over the border. In fact, many times Border Patrol agents would tell you they would see the same child cross with different groups of people in one day. Or in 1 week, they would see the same child be 3 or 4 times crossing the border with a different group of people. They were literally using these children to facilitate their invasion into our country, because then they would immediately be granted asylum and released into our country. The Biden administration quit doing DNA testing of anyone who came into our country to make sure they were a part of our family, their families. And so that was one of the things that we immediately reinstated under the Trump administration, that if a child comes to the border with a group of individuals, we are DNA testing them to ensure that they actually belong together, that they are family members when they claim that. When we're out doing enforcement operations as well, going after criminals on our streets that are murderers, rapists, traffickers, when we find children with them, we're immediately DNA testing them to see if they should be in that situation or with those individuals. We have been able to relocate and to find over 10,000 children already so far. But we've got a long ways to go, and that's why your help matters, and that's why what you do every day is so important to our department and the work that we do. I know a lot of you, and most of you, are extremely familiar with the Sound of Freedom movie that is horrific, absolutely horrific, but extremely powerful and changes people forever. I think everybody who's seen it, it's changed their lives. But I don't know if you know that that whole movie started with an HSI agent who did his work, found 2 children, and then started to go after the ring and found this international web of evil that uncovered that entire trafficking organization there. And that started with one agent that was under the umbrella of the Department of Homeland Security. That's the kind of work that we do every single day that I'm just so proud of. I just spent this last weekend in Nashville and spent an afternoon with some of those investigators, hearing about their work and seeing what tools they need to go after these criminals and make sure that we're able to bring these children back into safety and these women back into safety as soon as possible. Now, because of President Trump's policies, we've been able to see a secure border. We've been able to see the flow of migrants and criminals and people in this country slow down. To the last 2 months, the amount of people that have entered this country has been 0. I've gone to 10 different countries and visited with their presidents in Central America, in Latin America, and visited with them and talked to them about the fact that when they have their citizens that are coming to our country, that they should turn them around themselves before they get to America. I have negotiated security agreements with them to share information on criminals and their backgrounds so that when they know who in their country perpetuated trafficking, that they flag them for us so we can find them if they happen to now be here, and we can bring them and force them into consequences and return them back to their home countries. These countries, because of those conversations, have worked and signed biometric data sharing agreements with us, security agreements. They're even telling us that they are now, because of President Trump's strong leadership, they have set up housing programs for their citizens to come back home. If they need a loan to get a house when they come back, they will help them if they're people that aren't dangerous. They will help give their children scholarships. They'll give them food aid for a period of time, train them for a job. And we believe, after visiting in those 10 different countries with the leaders, that we have over 1.5 million people that have already gone home on their own and self-deported just because they recognize they shouldn't have been in the United States illegally. And if they want to come back someday, they need to do it the right way.
When trafficking happened across the border, we realized trafficking was going on. What did we do about it? We established DNA testing. We made sure families were families. We did a pilot programs. Some of the pilot programs show as high as 30% of families claiming the families weren't families at all. Fast forward to the Biden administration. They stopped DNA testing. They stopped a majority of the trafficking investigations. For 4 years, I woke up every day pissed off because I knew children were being trafficked. I knew women and children being sex trafficked. I knew children were coming across the border being released to the very people that paid to have them smuggled, that conspired with alien smuggling organizations to have their child smuggled. put their child in the hands of criminal cartels to be snuck across the border. And I knew, based on my 4 years' experience, what some of these children most likely went through. So every day I woke up pissed off. Because when you open the border up, people are going to come. When you make a promise to the whole world, you can cross the border legally. It's a crime, but don't worry about it. We'll release you within 24 hours, send you to the city of your choice with a taxpayer-funded plane ticket, put you in a free hotel room, give you 3 meals a day, and work authorization within 3 months. I knew the whole world was going to take advantage of that. The most vulnerable people in the world would take advantage of that giveaway program. And what did that do? It brought millions to the border, overwhelmed the Border Patrol. We're up to 70% of agents were off the line. Changing diapers, making baby formula, making hospital runs, making travel arrangements. 70% of agents off the line. There was several moments, actually many moments in that 4 years, where the entire sector of U.S. Border Patrol agents were pulled off the line to deal with overcrowding, processing, dealing with that humanitarian crisis. When you remove 70% of agents off the line, that's when bad things happen. That's when trafficking exploded to historic highs. That's when sex trafficking exploded to historic highs. That's when enough fentanyl came across to kill 250,000 Americans. That's when we went from 14 people on the terrorist watch list arrested during Trump 45 to over 400 under Joe Biden. So every day I woke up pissed off. So I couldn't wait to see President Trump win office back, because I knew we'd come back and we fix it, and we did.
The Department of Justice and the U.S. government has never established a national human trafficking database. You have data that is kept locally, you have data that is kept in states, but there is no national repository or place that we keep this information so we can follow these patterns and do analysis and then find children that may be in some states. So we have legislation that would require the establishment of a national human trafficking database. Having that information is going to be vitally important. And let me give you an example of where we think this could be helpful. We found out in the Biden administration over 2 years ago that there were 77,000 children that they could not find. And then it became 150,000 children. And then we found out the number was 300,000 children. And then we found out it is even north of that. So having a national database, as our wonderful Homeland Security Secretary was just talking about, they're conducting rescues as they are picking up these criminal illegal aliens to get them out of the country. And being able to know where these children are, they have apprehended and saved over 10,000 of these children. They have been rescued.
Just for the record, this year is the 25th anniversary of the Trafficking Victim Protection Act. I am the prime author of it. Took 3 years to get passed. It almost didn't get passed. Sam Brownback played a great role over on the Senate side, and Sam's a great guy, and he was the Senate guy and did a wonderful job. But 25 years later, we have well over 2,250 major prosecutions that led to incarcerating these terrible people that traffic. One of them was Jeffrey Epstein. He died, of course, never got justice meted out, but he was being prosecuted pursuant to the provisions of the TVPA. I did 4 other laws since. One of them is called International Megan's Law, and that law took 8 years to get passed. The Obama people were against it, on the record. I couldn't get them to change. He ended up signing it, so go figure. But he kept blocking it in the Senate. 3 times we passed it in the House. Now, what does International Megan's Law do? Megan Kanka, that wonderful young girl and family, 7 years old, brutally murdered by a convicted pedophile, lived across the street. And then the perpetrator of that crime had the audacity to hand out posters, papers saying, do you know where Megan is? I mean, talk about a duplicitous man. Well, he was found out, prosecuted, he's in prison today. It led to Megan's laws throughout the country. Now, I discovered that many of those, once they get out of prison, and we have GAO data to back this up, they get a passport and they travel to hurt and to destroy, really, young children all over the globe, whether it be in Thailand, Mexico, Brazil, name the country. Child sex tourism is very real. So we got this bill finally into law, and what it does, it notices country of destination, but a convicted pedophile is planning on traveling to that country. And if they lie about it, they get up to 10 years in prison. So we're not kidding. We want to stop child sex tourism as a way of redundancy and to ensure that we stamp the passports of all of these convicted pedophiles with a message to border security when they are coming into Thailand or whatever, that the bearer is on the sex registry list. And we know that they are being turned away at borders when they show up. The good news is well over 30,000 notices have gone out. It could have been more if we got it passed without the 8-year delay under Obama. But it is making a difference